Hi, I'm John with A Conversation That Matters, and today I have 5 reasons to oppose the social justice warriors who would strip our land of all of its Confederate monuments. I have 5 reasons to protest the protesters. I have 5 reasons to keep the Confederate monuments standing exactly where they currently stand. Reason number 1, Confederate monuments are to honor the soldiers, not the politicians, not the Confederate government. They were erected during the turn of the century by those who were local and who were scraping the bottom of the barrel because they remembered when Grandpa didn't come home with an arm because he lost it at Shiloh or Chancellorsville. They were erected by people who remembered a son who paid the ultimate sacrifice defending his home. I myself have 3 grandfathers who fought for the Confederacy. All 3 of them did not own slaves, but every single one of them was invaded, and every single one of them had a choice to either defend his hearth and home or to leave it undefended. They chose to defend their hearth and home, and that is the reason that these monuments exist. And if you're a Christian who believes in keeping the 5th commandment, honoring thy father and mother, these monuments must stand. Whether you agree or disagree with the Confederacy, it doesn't really matter. It's irrelevant, because the monuments were to the soldiers, not to the politicians, not to the government. Reason number 2, Confederate memorials and monuments are teaching opportunities for children. When your sons or your daughters see something that is hearkening back to the days of the Confederacy, they may ask you what it means. And whether you agree or disagree with the Confederacy, you get a chance to explain to them what changes have taken place in America since that time and why those monuments are there and what they represent. These monuments are the heritage of every American, red, yellow, black, and white, north and south. Reason number 3, if we don't have commonly held beliefs, values, places, people, events, history that we can draw on and have a common ground with, then we don't really have a culture. And every time we take down a monument or something that represents our past, we are stripping our culture of those things that keep it together. Reason number 4, where will it end? Do we stop with Confederate monuments, or do we start taking down statues of Thomas Jefferson? He was a Virginian, he was a slave owner. Do we stop with Confederate monuments, or do we take down statues of George Washington, also a Virginian and a slave owner? How about everyone pre-year 2000 who believed in traditional marriage? By what standard do we determine that monuments should either stay or go? Is it the standard of the media? Because I guarantee they want more than just Confederate monuments to go. Which leads me to my 5th point. Are we going to let the media determine what stays and what goes? Are we going to give them that kind of power? Imagine with me for a moment that it's the next generation. It's 30, 40 years down the line, and Donald Trump's presidency is a historical point that is studied in history books. And the textbooks say that it was all about racism and anti-immigration. Now, you may very well know that it was anti-illegal immigration and that it was anti-Islamic terrorism. But the media has defined it as being racist and anti-immigration, period. And that is going to be what's put in the textbooks of your children. Those who were around for it are getting old or they're gone. And that's exactly what's happened to these Confederate monuments. The media is feeling its own power. The media knows that it was able to successfully cast Dylan Roof when he shot up a Charlton church as a representative of the Confederacy. The media knows it was able to cast the protesters in Lexington as Confederate sympathizers and those representing Robert E. Lee. The media does not cover the Sons of Confederate Veterans when they have an event. The media does not go to the Abbeville Institute and ask them for expert opinion on the Confederacy. Even though the Sons of Confederate Veterans has about 100,000 members, the media goes to these little bitty groups with a couple hundred members and says they represent the Confederacy. And because they do, we need to take down what the Confederacy represents. That's giving the media too much power. And at some point, we have to tell them enough is enough. You do not have the power to put up or to take down or to determine what stays and what goes in our culture. We determine that, not you. You don't have the power to redefine these things. And those are my 5 reasons for why the Confederate memorials must stay. To recap, the monuments were to the soldiers, not to the Confederate politicians or to the government. They are a teaching opportunity for young Americans who want to know about their own American history. if they do go, they will serve as a further step in cultural breakdown. Where will it end? Do we stop with Confederates, or do we take down statues to our founding fathers as well? How much history are we going to strip? And lastly, do we want to give the media the power to determine what stays and what goes, or does that power reside in us, the people? Those are 5 thoughts for you to consider. I'd encourage you, share this video around, because the media is not going to want this message to get out. Have a good day. Bye now.